So, for everyone, especially the new folks, Mr. Check My Resume. We are today going to have our not strap 101, our 0-day expiration class in preparation for those expiring contracts tomorrow. It is also a monthly expiration as well as a quarterly expiration known as the quad, which and so with this class, we're really focused on these high volatility trades. They are on the riskier side, so I would caution those folks who are new to trading, new to the strat, or even just new to the group. They may just want to take this opportunity to just sit back and learn, kind of understand kind of the steps we take to go through our process, and maybe if that's within your kind of trading plan, maybe that's something that you can incorporate. And so that's kind of the crux of this presentation. I will point out that these 0-day expiration contracts, they are highly volatile and your trade can go to zero. This is not these are not trades that are those that you can kind of hold losers on. So you got to make real decisive decisions, and you've got to just kind of roll with that. And so be very clean about your execution when taking these trades. It's not something you want to be totally prepared when going through or taking these trades on a 0-day. And as most of the more experienced folks will know, you can get some really, really high returns. But at the same time, the flip of that coin, you can lose the whole investment as well if you don't manage it appropriately. So just want to get that out of the way and talk about kind of that whole piece of it. So what we try to do here is we try to identify setups. Particularly, I like those inside 4-hour time frame setups to identify potential trades for these 0 days, either to the upside or to the downside. In addition to that, though, we look at all types of different setups. And then the main thing here is for today, we're really focused on trades for tomorrow, not so much long setups that we plan to take over a period of time. This class is specifically dedicated for that. And our objective here is to really find trades that we can take advantage of and execute on for tomorrow. And we've consistently had success going through these steps and this process over the last almost 2 years now. And so we, I feel as though we're pretty confident in the process. I think the main thing now is just execution when taking these types of trades. I think that's really imperative when dealing with 0-day expiration. So as I mentioned, I like to identify setups on the 4-hour time frame. But I think fundamentally, what I try to look for are continuation plays. Those that have stocks that are moving in a direction already in force, looking for continuity in that direction, and then potentially a setup that essentially I can get on a moving train, so to speak. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in concept. And, there are times where you can definitely see that setup, a lot. And there are instances where you may see very few, or, you may see it where there are not many options at all. So just understanding the dynamics behind those 0-day trades and kind of what we're looking for. So I am not looking for reversals in the sense of something trending down and now it's going to reverse up. Although, I mean, there are instances where that can, could be a trade that goes off, but I like to deal with probability. So I like to see things that are already moving in force and I don't have to question that. And I'm just looking for that continuation. So that's probably the difference between the types of trades I discuss on the 0-day class and today. And so I just wanted to make that differentiation so that you all will understand kind of like my mindset and rationale for the trades that I'm taking. And so the more things in my favor, such as like fundamentals, federal regulations, as well as the technicals, of course, if all those things will aid in my conviction on a said play. And so, that works both ways, to the upside and to the downside. So with that, we're going to get into some setups. What I would recommend for all of you, just drop in the tickers in the chat that you want me to look at. I'll go through every ticker. You know, we'll take the time to do that. And that's essentially it. And so we're gonna get right into it. As we can see today, we had a pretty strong move to the downside on SPY. And even after hours, we pushed down below 3. Well, we pushed to a low of 386.10. So looks as though we have some continued bearish activity. Looks like we potentially are going to have a gap down. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, looks like we're going to have a pretty strong gap down tomorrow. So we'll see what happens when pre-market opens. So first of which, let's get into, let's take a scan here and see what we've got on the inside 4 hour. I'll be looking for upside and downside setup. So again, drop your tickers in the chat, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna run a scan on the 4 hour. So I'm running the inside 4 hour scan. And so for this step 1, we just like to really collect the data. We don't want to make any judgments at this stage in the process. We just want to collect the data in the sense of we want to collect those setups that we feel as though you know, we want to look at the setups that look the best to us, essentially, to put it in layman's terms. So so what we'll do now is kind of go through these different tickers. We're not going to look through every single one of them, but I'll take some time to go through these different individual tickers, and then from that point, we'll start to identify some that we want to take and kind of look at later, and put broad informations on and take a greater analysis on. So interestingly, we've got a few here, such as Win, Laser, DraftKings, LVS. So we'll take a look at some of these tickers and see what we've got. I would expect these to be downside setups for the most part. So actually this Win here, we take off the after hours. So here on Win, looks like we had inside 4 hour. Looks like it did come to a low here at this level of 64.20. But it looks like it got bought up. Interestingly. Yeah, so it did have a nice pop towards the end of the day. But again, this setup does give us an upside look on this setup. Looks like we had a TTO here off this broad information and kind of pushed up to this $65 level. But it looks like we got to a daily BF. So I think from this one right here, we can mark it. I think one of the main things you want to think about with something like this is it is going against what, you know, I guess SPY is doing, I guess you could say. So just be mindful of that. And if you're going to take it to the upside, just be mindful of your targets and where you're going to exit at. Because again, if you only have the technicals that you're going off of, you really want to play those targets real close. But it looks like Win had a lot of buying today, 49% is average daily volume. So, I mean, it looks like there's a lot of buyers present today on Win. And we'll take a look at Laser as well. You know, I like Win actually. So I like the company. So here on Laser, similar deal. We have 2 up today. Inside 4 hour setup. Looks like it just kind of went flat in the afternoon. So we are looking at that 212 continuation on the 4 hour here. We're looking at a level of $9.59. And I just realized I didn't give you my levels on Win. And so going back to Win, we got the 212 here setting up just under the point of control. Looks like it came to point of control and pulled under. So we're looking at a 212 bullish continuation to the upside here above $65.68 on Win. So that one doesn't look too bad. So let's keep it going here. DraftKings, P-Time, LVS. So similar setup here on DraftKings, another inside 4 hour off the 2 up on the day. Looks like the pull down on SPY didn't really affect this one too much. But again, we're looking at this 212 to the upside here above $19.46. And so again, I need to draw some additional broad information on this one to see what targets we want to go after on that one. But this one looks like it's been moving in force for a little while. And yeah, I mean, this one potentially could be one to give us a good move tomorrow, just based on how the price action has been moving. One of the other things we like to identify is those stocks that have that relative strength. So when we do have those stocks that are moving against what the rest of the market's doing, that's showing us that it has relative strength and that buyers like that particular stock. And sometimes we can identify that reason, and sometimes it's just purely price action. So we have to kind of take each one case by case. But DraftKings, you've got the 212 bullish continuation above 1946, and you'll have 2 up on the day above 1979. So looks like we've got the consolidation on the second half of the day, and looks like we're going to go for another 2 up tomorrow based on what the charts are telling us. So we'll see how we open up tomorrow, or if buyers are still present in the morning, or if they have vacated the premises. But as it currently stands, DraftKings looks solid to push back up tomorrow. So the next one here is LVS, and I'll take a look at CCL. So LVS looks like here, this one came to the top of a broad formation on the month. It looks like it is also came back down to that weekly broad formation, and we could have a situation where it just looks like it just came to the top of that range. It just keeps getting rejected there. So we'll see. Today actually pushed up to its high that's done over the last like 90 days. So so actually that, that doesn't look too bad. But LVS, similar to WIN, is moving across, against the grain, so to speak, with SPY pushing down. So another one that's showing relative strength. We've got 214% as average volume on that one. So we had the rev strat today on the day. But again, we've got a monthly BF right here. So I could see a situation tomorrow where it could chop around, make an outside 4 hour in the morning, and then end up in between these broad informations again. So LVS is the one, just one to keep your eye out on. I think right now at the top of a broad information on the month, I would probably want to stay away from it. I don't want to take a trade with the broad information levels right there. So that's kind of like my whole kind of theoretical around it. But that's not to say we've seen plenty of those take off even after being right there at broad information. So all we've seen scenarios where they gapped up and just kept on going. So it's all about probabilities. So here on CCL, this one here is setting up, looks like, I would like to see what the broad informations look like on the day. But looks like this one's setting up for a reversal here. We got a 212 potentially, to the downside. But again, we've seen travel. We saw travel take off today. So a lot of these travel stocks are looking solid. I think CCL just has a bearish candle on the outside 4 hour. But, over the last 2 weeks, though, it's been moving up, even with the TTO earlier this week. So CTL is one to keep your eye out for. If they continue their buying tomorrow, they'll all probably run, similarly to the way they did today, with Vegas stocks and travel and all of that. So CCL is another one. It's actually one of those we've definitely taken advantage of in the pack. So the next one here is, I'll take a look at it, Snap. So Snap. So here on Snap, we've got a few things going on here. We've got a 322 going to the downside on the week, and we've got 2 up on the day, but we've got a Luca set up on the 4 hour. So we could get the 4-hour move back to the downside, potentially below $11.83. And then if for any reason this thing decides it wants to just go bullish tomorrow, then we've got an entry above $12.16 on Snap. But yeah, so I'll just be mindful, just keep your eye on that one, but not one that maybe the downside looks more appealing, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, with the way the market's been going, you know, back and forth and chopping and everything, it could give us a bearish setup and then go bullish and look bearish and then go bullish. So I think for us, we just got to play it accordingly and be ready if we need to make an intraday move. So the next one I want to take a look at is Blink. Take a look at Blink and then Upstart. So Blink came to a weekly level broad formation, it looks like today, and was rejected accordingly. We are looking at a potential reversal down below 2302. And if you're looking for that bullish continuation, which in my estimation, it hitting the broad formation and creating the bearish outside candle, I think it's pretty clear what the next step would be if it does trigger. But I'm looking for this 212 to the downside below 2302. But to the upside, you got level 2387. That would be an entry to the upside. But again, you've got two broad formations a week and a quarter right above its head. So I'll just be mindful that that's there. And so it just kind of changes kind of my perspective and likelihood of it kind of pushing up. And if it does push up, it could push up in a very like forceful way in the morning, opening up like an outside candle, hit that broad information, come back down kind of thing. So I'll be looking out for Blink and see what we get out of that one. But you know, it's not one that I have high on my priority list. Let's keep it going here. We got Fastly, GameStop. We can look at GME, MGM. So GameStop's been going flat. All of the days are green. It hasn't been really moving much in terms of price. So I guess for me, I just kind of leave that where it's at. Yeah, so that one's, yeah, it's right up under point of control. But I'm going to leave that sorry, not DraftKings, but GameStop. I'm going to leave that one alone. There's a lot of conflict, and it's not that appealing to me. Oh, I skipped over Ride, so we can take a look at Ride before we next word. Yes, so it's like Ride, it's at $2.17. So we're gonna keep going. We need to look at Ride. So let's go MGM and Etsy. So we had the rev strat on the day. We are 2 down on the month, 2 up on the week, even though it's red. It looks like we came close to that yearly BF level, and like we gapped down from there, and we're pushing back up. We did have a kind of a bearish afternoon, like a lot of stocks did, but this looks like price tried to make its way back up towards the end of the day. A couple different setups I'm looking at. We've got the 212 on the 4-hour here above $34.91, and then to the downside, the trigger below 34.12 on that MGM. I'm giving you both levels mainly because behavior that the SPY has been giving us these last few weeks. It's just price has just been very unreliable, just choppy. I mean, obviously we've been trending. We've had a pop over this time, but obviously we're still trending downwards. So I mean, it's just been a lot of topsy-turvy with the charts that I've noticed over recent weeks. Give you one setup and then turn around and go the other direction in the morning. or something along those lines. So just understanding that dynamic so that you're prepared for whatever comes your way during the trade session, whether that's today or next week, whatever. That's kind of like the mindset, you know, to kind of take with you when you assessing trades and things of that nature. You can't predict what happens, but you can prepare yourself for different scenarios to occur. So, and that's kind of what we do. So here, the next one here is TJ Maxx. Looks like this one here is fighting with a monthly level broadening formation. Looks like it pushed down pretty significantly in the afternoon. So we got a couple different outlooks here. We got the bullish setup here on the 4 hour. I'm sorry, we got the bearish setup here on the 4 hour below 64.64. And then if you were looking for an upside move, you've got to get above 65.45. And so you know, that would be one to keep your eye on if you're just locked in on it. I think me personally, with that at broad information level, I typically like to stay away and just let it figure out itself. I don't need to be there for that. And T-Doc. And we're gonna get into you all's plays in the chat. So T-Doc's looking like a Chicago setup here on the 4 hour. We've got actually, let me do this. There we go. So as you can see, like afternoon, the last 2 hours of the day started to push up off to the point of control. And over here on the day, or the 4 hour, we created that Chicago setup. So you're looking for entry above 32.57 if you're thinking upside. But if you're thinking we're going to carry down to the downside, look below 31.46. I think right now we are closer to the downside trigger. However, we've seen this market behave pretty interestingly over the last few weeks. So just be mindful. I think the setup is lending itself to a downside move. But I remember a couple of weeks ago, everything was looking bullish to the upside, and then we went up right after market and then shot right back down intraday. So just keep your head on the swivel, as they say. All right, so yeah, take a look at Snap. Hold up, Dane. Let's take a look at AMD and Meta. Yeah, so I got AMD right here. It looks like it is trapped between some broadening formations. Well, not even trapped, but just is making its way. It's trended down through these two quarterly BFs, and it looks like we've got a couple potential setups. You see here on the 2 hour, you got the double inside 2 hour. And then here on the 4 hour here, we've got, this looks like a Chicago. Yeah, so we got the Chicago setup on the 4 hour here. To the upside, you've got an entry above 77.81 and to the downside below 75.99. So you got something to kind of be aware of there with that one. I think the broad information is to the upside. You know, but just, you know, you want to be, mindful of that in terms of if you're playing it to the upside. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the main thing to look at. But obviously you'll know pretty quickly what direction this was going to go based on how the market is behaving in the morning. So that, luckily for like an AMD, you'll be able to kind of see that pretty quickly. AMD, I mean, it is at the, actually, let me go back. It's right below that broad information. So you got a situation where it could kind of fight its way through with strong buying to the upside, or it could just kind of go retest that BF and then get rejected there. So if that happens, then you could play the rejection. So my daughter wants to come in here and talk. So next one here, ASA. I'm gonna take a look at Starbucks. Starbucks. So here on the day, well, the 4 hour here, we got the Chicago setting up. 312. Looks like price got bought up at the end of the day. And so it looks like we got a little bit of a, created some wick towards the end. But that push down in the middle of the day was strong. So we're looking at, to the upside at the very least, a 312 above 93.10 on the 4 hour. And then to the downside, we're looking at an entry below 91.80. And I think to the upside, you're probably looking at levels like right just below $94. And to the downside, you're looking at levels of like 91.30, something around that price range. And so that's the 4 hour setup, and then on the day looks like we remained inside. So I'll be looking for this inside day break here above 93.15, but it is giving us a shooter look. So, but that's mainly because of the price action and how that performed in the middle of the day today. So be watching out for that. But this is another one. The continuity looks very strong on this one. So it has been something that's trending upwards. The main thing we want to see here is like what the overall market's going to do, because that could create drag on this stock from going up like it potentially can. But Starbucks, it does well on Fridays, so I'll be looking out for that one. Didn't we talk about Blink? I think we did. Yeah, we did. Costco to the downside. Yeah, Costco, double outside weeks. Interesting. So the one thing that I want to think about here is because we play these outside week bounces so much, the thought here for me is like, is this thing gonna try to bounce to the 50% level and then get rejected there? And if that's the case, then I probably be looking at it, even though it looks very bloody right now. We could look for an upside move, maybe up into this broad formation, and then get rejected back down. But that's like one scenario, and then the other is we just continue pushing down. But we've already hit outside week, and it looks like buyers are trying to show up right here. So we'll see. But those are the two scenarios. We push down tomorrow to kind of establish what that low of the low of the week is, or we've already seen the buyer step in and try to take this up to potentially the 50% level. And that actually aligns with the broad information. It may be slight difference, but there's a lot of alignment with that broad information there. So that's kind of my thoughts on Costco. Obviously the bearish setup here on the 4 hour, I think this is Chicago, to the downside below 558 cents. But it looks like buyers like that level. They keep creating the wick right there. But if you did think upside move on it, you're looking above 506.06 for entry on Costco. We got Pepsi and K. So yeah, this one's looks like more barbecue chicken to the downside. So yeah, I could see Pepsi pushing down to the 164 level. Looking at an entry below 165.35 on the 4 hour. And then that would complete the 212 to the downside, bearish continuation. And we have 2 down on the day below 165.34. So that one looks pretty self-explanatory. Like, you know, we can see this Pepsi pushing down to this broad information level and then getting bought up right there. So just something to keep your eyes on. All right, so next one is Kellogg's. So this one looks weak. It's Kellogg's downside, creating a lot of shooters. Hammer, hammer, shooter, shooter. And then on the 4 hour, again, we got another shooter inside down. Looking at an entry, give us a 212 below $70.22. You know, for that 212 to the downside. That looks pretty clean. We do have a broad information here at $70 that could be a little tricky, but this one looks clearly going to move to the downside. I think that broad information may get cooked eventually. CHK. So CHK, Chesapeake. So you see the 2 hour setups here, got the inside two, above 103.73. And on the day, got the 212 entry, 212 bullish continuation above 103.81. And this one looks solid, like it's going to keep pushing up, but doesn't look like it gives us much sustained movement, but it's kind of choppy. But this one's still trending up, so Chesapeake looks solid. We've got conflict on the week, but it turns the week back green at 104.59, so $1 away. XLU, should have shorted XLU this week. I don't know what I was thinking. I just spaced on that. I had like wrote notes on everything this weekend. Should have shorted XLUs to end a rotation for XLU stocks. SO would be one of those. We reached the top of the broad information level on the overall target on this trade. Actually, some weeks back, actually. Maybe was it a few weeks back? But yeah, the 80.57 level was kind of the high from that move. You know, and as we were talking about before, this one was in seasonality. And so when we took the triple inside week breaks, and actually I alerted this on the 212 break actually before the triple inside weeks. And so if you got in on that break, essentially, you know, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks of price action movement. And so what's that? What 9 weeks puts us, you know, roughly like 2 months. So essentially 60 days from like point of alert to point of exit, because, you know, we talked about this quarterly broad information at the top being kind of like an overall target area for that one. Obviously you got BFs along the way, but from an overall target perspective, that was one that, you know, we had identified and, you know, we're able to swing into, even though it's been bearish. And that's where, you know, the thought processes of understanding the seasonality and the fundamentals behind certain stocks gives you an edge over other traders who are not taking that information into account. And so, you know, that's just a little sauce for y'all to kind of take into account when you're looking at these trades. You can pretty much bank on it when seasonality is ending, when the rotation's done on these stocks, they die. I expect this SO to continue to fall tomorrow is my point, but I think maybe even possibly, you know, eventually go through below this broad information, but I could see it contesting it tomorrow. But looking at it, we don't have a 4 hour setup. It doesn't looks like we do, but we're outside on the week. I think we could potentially push on down even further to like the 76.50 level, which could give us another 2 down on the day here below 77.23. Outside week could we could still push down to this broad information level and then rise from there. So the 2-hour trigger is below 77.23 if you were really wanting to get in there. But this one here is like gonna have to like break continuity and all of that to really give you that bearish looking setup. Right now it still looks bullish, but what I know is that seasonality is over. So buyers and traders who play seasonality, they're gonna be out. Like they probably already have exited this week. So yeah, that's one to think about and be mindful of. GT, Mr. Nonchalant, GTLB. This one here is got inside 4-hour, 2 on 2 on 2, 2 up on the week, inside day. So a couple things. On the 4-hour, looks like we came to the point of control. We've just kind of been flat overall there. So we are looking for the 212 continuation above $60.67. And then on the, that was the 4-hour. And then on the day, we're looking at a 312 Chicago above 61.83. And that will give you your entry point on that GTLB. Looks like it just reversed. Looks like price is green. It's green. So next one here is TH. So on TH, what is this? So it looks like they did a Luca today on the 4-hour. So now we're looking for the bullish continuation here above $14.16. We had double inside 2-hour earlier this afternoon that broke. And then on the day, we're looking at Chicago as well on the day here above $14.35. The inside bar on the day looks pretty decent. So Chicago set up on the day, bullish continuation on the 4-hour for TH. KO, looks like KO. Gonna give us a little bit more downside action. Looks like we could push down to this 58.85 level or something along those lines. So that one, it's clearly downside for me. We'll get 2 down on the day below 59.36 as well. And yeah, we're still pushing down on the week. So I expect this one to come in contact with this broad information, or maybe go try to retest some of the lower BFs as well. But that would be my expectation. And then we'll get bought up from there. So T-Mobile, so we've got 2 down on the 2-hour. And we are looking for a 312 on the day, on the 4-hour here. Don't. Oh man, I wrote the damn alert wrong. Shit. I wrote the alert as an upside alert. Look at that T-Mobile alert. See that failed 2 up on the day? One, two, two to the downside. All right. T-Mobile don't look half bad. Yeah. I haven't played T-Mobile in a while too. That one looks good though. D-Dog. That's another one that looks solid. D-Dog. Yeah. We tried to show some strength in the morning. Looks as though, and after that sell off in the afternoon, it couldn't hold up. Interesting. Yeah, so this one here, we're looking at a 312 to the downside on the 4 hour here, and that's below 95.10. Wow, we had oh man, okay. All right, so it looks like this one had a very interesting day. Yeah, it had a lot of miles on it today. So we're looking at the outside day here on the 4 hour. At the 312 to the downside below 95.10 is the trigger level. Check out the contracts on D-Dog. Actually, it's expiration week, so there should be plenty of contracts. So that's the other thing with the 0 days. You'll get higher volume or open interest on your contracts because it's an aggregated time period. So a lot of traders or organizations trade strictly the lowest time frame they'll trade on is a monthly. So so you'll get that from time to time. But at least every month you'll see that. You'll see that there's a higher monthly expirations is just gonna have that high. Shit. I'll fix it there. And so higher anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look what's on the scanner. I didn't give me too many tickers this week. So let's take a look at Tesla real quick. Looking at Tesla is trying to trend back up. And a lot of chicken that was made up through here. So we're looking at 212 on Tesla above 307.52. I'm not sure I see a scenario where it's going to push down again. But I mean, the candle is bearish. It does give you a bearish sense in the setup. However, just looking at the trend of the stock and some of the macros, I can see this one kind of pushing up tomorrow as well. You just need to wait on it to do that. So again, SPY is going to be very prevalent to some of these trades. If SPY dies, there's just certain tickers that we should just probably leave alone. To be, totally honest with you. And leave alone in terms of upside moves. Got a TripAdvisor that King gave me. So again, we've got TripAdvisor that was been pushing up today, had a strong move, and then started to cool down towards the afternoon. So you've got a decision to make. Are you thinking we're bullish or bearish on this one? I think it's all dependent. I think if SPY's up and bullish in the morning, but I mean, again, I just told you all at the beginning that we pushed down pretty significantly during after hours. So I could see a gap down scenario more so than a gap up. So this one could particularly already be below the trigger when it hits tomorrow. So, but yeah, this one looks solid. I think below this 2576 level makes a lot of sense for Trip. And I'm going to set the alert here. So, Trip. moving. General Motors, Penn Gaming, Citigroup. Look at that. So you got GM. Looks like GM had a fail 2 up this week. Okay, fail 2 up. Looks like we did go 2 up on the day today, but then came back and made a shooter. We got the hammer shooter counter on the day here on GM. Really interesting. Look at the setup here. So looks like it's just been real choppy. So we've got the rev strat to the downside here below $40.54. So that should be interesting. And then on the 4 hour, we're looking at a 212 below $40.63. I'll be looking to take that one down to like the 39.75 level, something like that. But I'll set a downside trigger on it. I think if we do see it push up, then we'll decide accordingly. So Penn Gaming, look what we have here. We are outside week currently. Looks like we already met our lows and we are pushing up. See how far we can take it. We are, I think, we're close to the 50% range on this, so we'll see what it does at that level. If it does indeed get rejected, which it looks to be potentially the case here, but we are at the point of control level, so I can see that buyers are present in this price level, but I don't know if they're strong enough to like take it beyond the broad information. So it looks like every time it gets bought up, it's just going back to the DF and then getting rejected. So we could be filling orders. We could be filling orders here, and then continue down to the downside. So we could see a situation where it could potentially go 2 up or make it like an outside 4 hour, go 2 up and go to this BF here, like 31.45, and then come back down after the rejection. So just be mindful of the upside trigger, although I'm still bearish on it. So we can see that entry above 31.25 trigger and then get rejected and then come back below the low trigger of $30.48 if you're looking to the downside. Now, if you're tricky and you savvy and you know what you're doing, you can take that entry on a smaller time frame at the top of that BF, catch that reversal back down. I know some of you guys have got that in your bag and your skill set to do. There ain't nothing wrong with that, but you gotta know what you're doing. So there's a few different ways you can play that. I think for the purposes of this call, we're not going to get into those types of details, although that is something that you can take advantage of. So I think that's what the strat's all about, is really identifying potential trades as they either reject or reverse off these broad informations. I think that's the whole key to the strat. Everything else, I think, kind of convolutes it, but anyway, moving on. Next one is Citigroup I have. Again, we have these engulfing candles here. Looks like on the 4 hour, we got the 212 set up below 48.32. And we also have a shooter on the day. So on the 4 hour here, we got the trigger below 49.32. So I'll set that real quick. 48.32. Then on the day, we've got the inside shooter here. Still green, still showing a little green, but we're looking at a level of 48.28 for entry. All right, so we got 28. So that's Citigroup. Let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. So those are all the ones that actually had some green on the day. So as we move down this list, we should get some more obvious downside setups. The main thing is we want to see where they are, where they lie in comparison to their broad formations. So here on AT&T, you've got this 212, actually Chicago 312 to the downside, below this $16.71 level. And you can see where you can take it to this broad information level, like 1654. Not sure if there's enough meat on that bone for me, but there's like 25 cents in movement. So, that's pretty, that's pretty decent for AT&T. So don't turn your nose up at it. Just understand the relativity of price. So that's AT&T. Let's see what else we got. Okay. AT&T setup looks solid. All right, so let's make a look at TLT. Right, so TLT, we got a potential Chicago setup here on the 4-hour. And then we got an inside candle on the day. So we got a couple potential setups. TLT has been fundamentally, it's been pretty much fundamentally bearish since like the Fed rate announcements. And so this one's kind of been reacting the way you could expect with the Fed rates going up. But there have been opportunities to take it to the upside. And so I think in this case here, I don't know if it's showing me enough strength to take it to the upside tomorrow, but if we do push down tomorrow, this could be one to take a look at. But it has not been behaving like it normally would in a typical push down on spot. So that's just something to be mindful of. Looks like it's been going sideways the last couple of days. So just looking at TLT, it does give you that Chicago setup, however. So you got the Chicago 312 here above 108.07 on TLT on the 4-hour, and then on the day you've got entry above 108.19 if you want to take an upside move. So that's one to think of with TLT. I don't know if it's one that I want to particularly deal with. So next one I have here, I want to take a look at. I'm going to take a DoorDash and an MRK. I'll get y'all out of here in a few minutes. So first one here, DoorDash, been very strong over the last couple of weeks. And we had the gap down a few days ago, but you can see buyers liked it and they bought it up like almost immediately. DoorDash at this price range is pretty attractive in comparison to what it's been in the past. But we are looking at it coming. It looks like it hit a daily BF. So right here on the day, looks like we're getting a 212 here on the day, below 64.01. So I'll be looking for that one to actually trigger. I want to set an alert for it. So let me go here. All right, so just put the trigger in for DoorDash to the downside. We also see the shooter rev strat on the day. It was a green day, but you can see price pull down and we didn't go red quite yet, but we are just at that level. So I'll be looking for this one to push down tomorrow. So we're looking for that rev strat to happen. 63.95. 64. Oh, okay. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we got. MRK, KMB, CPB. A lot of bearish setups we're gonna see right here. So again, we got MRK pulled down on the day inside 4 hour in the afternoon. On the day here, we had a 2 down. So again, because of where continuity is, this isn't one that I'm going to be looking for to take to the upside. However, we do have the Chicago set up to the downside. So I'll be looking at that more so than anything. However, we do have a daily BF just below, just like below where it was today. So we're looking at a level of, for Chicago to the downside, we're looking at a level of 86.62 for that trigger point. We got some levels initially 86.17, and then like the broad information level is what I'm thinking about here, 85.65. We need to put that on the analyze tab to see what kind of chicken that is, but that's one potentially that I can see just visually. I think it's a potential. We could be gapping to that target, man. And if we gap into it, you know what happens. We could probably get like a little move to the upside, you know, to a price level, maybe to fill the gap, whatever, 50%, and then get rejected again. I mean, we're gonna rinse and repeat that same process. But yeah, I mean, we're in gap down territory already. So that's my thought process is we're probably for sure gonna gap down tomorrow. So I'll just be mindful of that and see what broad information you have on certain tickers. And if you need to prepare yourself for like a short bounce to the upside after the gap down. So look at your broad information, see where price levels are on your tickers. I mean, price right now doesn't really mean much. So you really just need to check in the morning prior to market open and see where things open up. So if we do gap down, I would expect us to do a couple, you know, one or two things. More likely is that we do get a short bounce initially, or we could have one of those big gap downs where it just rips all day. But I think that we are going to open up down and gap down tomorrow. So if I'm looking at SPY right now, which I have on my screen, and just from what I saw in after hours, we were already at 386. So we were already below this broad information here. So we can see a situation where we try to fight above it, close the gap, and then come back down. So we'll see what happens on that. But yeah, that's kind of what my head is telling me on the market. So we'll see how far we actually got down though. So we got KMI. Let's go. Am I seeing? Oh, I'm seeing the tickers wrong. As though Brick Communications, otherwise known as Verizon. This one here is gone outside week. We are 2 down on the day today. Very nasty star right there. And it looks like we came to a low today, got bought up a little bit and stayed outside or stayed inside, excuse me. So I don't know if price was to continue down right here or kind of consolidate first and then make its way down, but that's one to keep your eye on. I say the level of 4102 below that would be your entry point. And then, you know, that would be the level for entry there. And then ON Semiconductors. Now you're speaking my language here, ON. So ON, you can see after the downside move, we alerted, or I alerted a couple weeks back. We we took that trigger down to the broadening formation as we expected, and then it's just been chopping ever since. Just been madness. So we're currently inside down. We're just above a broadening formation level, a macro BF. Based on like the way the market's been behaving, and we just talked about it gapping down, that sure, we could see a scenario where this one gap down maybe to the broad information area, but I'm not sure of the level of downside we have on this one. So yeah, we could go down, but I think we go right back into this broad information and it just stays flat. But as you can see, buyers were present in the morning and the afternoon at these levels below point of control. There are buyers there. So we'll see if it has enough strength to take it up to the upside, but I think there's buyers below that level of where it closed. So I'd be interested to see if it actually does push down significantly tomorrow, or if it just goes right to that broad information. So you do have an entry to the downside below 67.41. And then that trigger could take you down to the 66.50 level, or $66 flat. And then if you're thinking upside because you see this push in the afternoon candles, you're looking at an entry above 68.94 on the 4-hour. And then on the day here, if we do go downside, you're looking at a rev strap below 67.21 on the day. So you got a couple different options, both upside and downside, but I think we are very close to the bottom of the range here on the broadening formation. So I think even if we do push down, there won't be a significant move to the downside. And I think we'll come back in contact with that broadening formation. And that's really all we need for 0 days. So you could play it a couple ways, take the short move down, or you can see what it does in the morning. Maybe we gap down to the BF and then take an earlier entry to take it back to the upside on a smaller time frame. This one does have buyers present. I think, buyers like this one right now. The pull downs on this one have not been as significant as some of its sector mates. And I think that's due to the type of buyers that they have within the stock. And that's something we talk about a lot on the Zoom calls, is the composition of the buyers within these option chains and things of that nature, because that plays a part into how these stocks move and move differently. So another discussion for another day. So couple more, and then I'm going to get you all up out of here. There's a lot of them to the downside. We're going to talk about X really quick. We got X's here at the bottom of a broadening formation on the quarter. Looks like it's just been going sideways the last 2 days. Doesn't want to push down anymore. I think buyers are like, we're going to buy it right here at $20. So there could be some signals to push up on this one potentially. Not going to go so far on a limb to say tomorrow, but I don't feel confident pushing a downside play on this one with where it's sitting at on the broad information, even though the setup is bearish. So again, I like to play it smart. So reversals off the BFs in the direction is kind of more my preference if we're going to do a reversal. But this one right here, it looks very bearish. So I'll be looking for a continuation down. But the level of 2006 is the level for trigger. However, I just have some concerns it's going to push down below that BF after already making the outside week. So just trying to pull some logic together for that one. And then I think I'm just going to wrap it up there. I think that we pretty much covered quite a bit. So I think from this perspective, we could pretty much wrap it up. If there's no other tickers or no questions, I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. Last one I will talk about is Schlumberger. We are 2 up on the week, but it is a little red, so we have to fight so we push that one back green on the week, and we are inside on the day. But again, we just reversed off the broad information today. So I'd be looking to see if this one stays flat tomorrow or if it pushes down. And if it does, I don't believe it will significantly. I don't believe it will go below this broad information. If it decides to retest it, But you do have trigger points to both the upside and the downside. I think we're going to go retest the other side of this range right here up in like the 40-48 level. So we'll see if that happens tomorrow, but you got downside entry below 39.52. And then you've got an upside trigger at 39.94. So that's what you have on SLB. And with that, I think I'm going to leave y'all with it. If y'all don't have any more questions, y'all have a great evening, and I will catch y'all in the Discord and in the Zoom tomorrow. So with that, I'll put my watch list up a little bit later, and then we go from there. Peace, family. Catch y'all tomorrow.